All right, so Democrats in the Biden administration, they're continuing with a $1.9 trillion economic rescue package, though they have signaled a willingness to scale back direct payments to Americans. Yesterday, mostly voting along party lines, the House adopted a budget blueprint that included Biden's sweeping aid plan, laying the groundwork for Democrats to push it through on a simple majority. So what we're going to get, guys, is a $1,400 direct payment to many Americans. Hopefully, sometime this will pass next week. It is going under the Biden plan. The full $1,400 payment is going to be limited to individuals earning no more than $75,000 a year. People in the higher incomes are going to earn smaller checks. Republicans' proposal calls for checks only up to $1,000, and that's only for people who earn $50,000 or less. Although late this afternoon, Mitt Romney came out with a proposal that he's trying to make a bipartisan proposal to actually make even more payments, $4,600 to any family with children under the age of 6, and $3,000 additional dollars to anybody with children between the ages of 6 and 17, and that's per child. Wow. I mean, if you are, one of those cheaper by the dozen families, where you got a dozen kids, you're going to be getting checks $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
Wow.
Under the Romney plan. Something is going to give, something is going to happen, and we'll know more next week. And I think after that, what's going to happen next is immigration's going to start heating up. They're going to pass stimulus first, then they're going to do immigration. And the reason why now it's all starting to move is that the Democrats finally took control of the Senate yesterday. And they're passing this stimulus bill through something called reconciliation, which means that they only need the Democratic vote to pass it. They don't need any Republicans. They would like to have Republicans come on and make it bipartisan. So what Joe Biden said is he's willing to tinker with some of the details, but the meat and potatoes is Americans earn $75,000 and less are going to get $1,400. Maybe people who earn more will get a little less than what the Democrats want. Perhaps this Mitt Romney thing, people can jump on board on that. Everybody likes to give money to kids. The downside on giving money, to the Republican argument would be to give money to parents of children, especially with people with 10, 12 kids. I mean, the reason is because they had to stay home from work. Everybody's distance learning. So these parents lost more than most, although many, but not all, are working from home. Nevertheless, it's a big struggle to be able to juggle kids distance learning over a computer on the internet while still trying to put in an 8-hour workday. So most parents are really not able to do it. It's really difficult. So I understand why they're doing it. The Republican argument not to do it is, well, now you're incentivizing people to stay home longer.
Yeah.
But I think given everything, if you give people money, they're going to spend it, and our economy needs it. So
that's true.
Given all of that, I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Nice.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, they deserve it. Like you said, it's a rough time for families that have a lot of kids. I know, some friends and older family members that have, a lot of kids at home, even new mothers, they can't go to work and stuff. So, I mean, I'm here for it. I don't have any kids, so I'm not going to get any of it, but I'm here for it for the families that need it.
Meanwhile,
I would just hope
go ahead.
It's used wisely. No, I was just going to say, I would just hope that, it would be something that people use wisely and just didn't, go to waste. I don't know, but you never know.
There's no using wisely. There's no such thing as using wisely. Okay, you can't give people money and just say, okay, you can only use it for this. You can't tell people how to use their money.
Use it wisely.
All right. Yeah. If they want to go to the club and blow it, it's not using it wisely. And
catch COVID.
Right. Although the waitress at the club would be very happy with their tips. Right. House prosecutors, they're really House managers. They're the prosecutors for the impeachment against Donald Trump. They have asked Donald Trump to come testify under oath in the impeachment trial that is going to be starting next week. In a letter to Donald Trump, lead impeachment manager Representative Jamie Raskin asked Donald Trump to provide testimony under oath about his conduct on January 6th, either before or during the Senate impeachment trial. The Senate impeachment trial starts on February 9th. Every other president who has been impeached has given testimony. Bill Clinton gave testimony, not at a trial, but in a taped deposition. Donald Trump's attorneys responded right before we got on the air. And you know what they said, Yo-Yo and Vanessa? What do you think they said?
What?
They said, no way he's coming to testify. That's what any lawyer would say. But but they have to have some sort of political spin on it, because if Donald Trump doesn't come testify and there's no reason for him not to come testify if he feels he's innocent, then there has to be some political reason. And the reason he said he's not going to come testify goes back to what their defense is, that the impeachment is unconstitutional because Donald Trump is no longer the president of the United States. So you can't impeach somebody who no longer holds that office. Now, some people may say, well, how could you force somebody, isn't there a right against self-incrimination? You can't force somebody to come testify and self-incriminate themselves. That is only in a criminal trial. Impeachment, right, for all intents and purposes, I can't see how impeachment is a criminal trial. Impeachment is a civil, it's a civil trial. If anything, you're looking to see whether you can take him out of a job or keep him from holding a job. So It really has nothing to do with punishing him or sending him into jail. It's about removing him from a job he does, which was the president, or preventing him from getting a job, which would be a future president. That's what this is about. So this is civil. This is not criminal. So there's, number one, there's no right against self-incrimination. So if he doesn't come testify, then there could be an inference under the law that if you refuse to testify, there could be an inference against you, meaning an inference could be a presumption against you that what you would testify would be self-incriminating, that in fact you incited a riot. That's what most judges would give a ruling to a jury to say, well, you can use the fact that he didn't come testify as evidence that maybe he would have testified against his own self-interests. And that would be an inference that a jury can determine on their own. So the fact that he doesn't come and testify does hurt him in a legal stance, but this is a political thing. This is not a legal thing. And people are going to not vote based on the facts, because if he voted based on the facts, he incited a riot. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. But, people are going to CYA because Donald Trump still runs the Republican Party. The other choice they have, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, is if he doesn't come testify, the other choice is they can subpoena him to come testify. But if they subpoena him, Donald Trump is going to ignore it. He said, I'm not going to come. Now what you're going to do?
I was just going to say, he wouldn't even show to that.
Right. Now what you're going to do? So at that point, they would have to bring a action in federal court to compel Donald Trump to come. Then there would be a hearing in federal court whether or not he's going to come testify. And that will take months. And then whoever wins or loses is going to appeal to the Court of Appeals. And that will take months. And then whoever wins or loses is going to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court will take a year. And at the end of the year, the Supreme Court will probably say, because they don't like to make these political decisions, they will probably kick it back down to a lower court and say, you didn't make the right question. Go back and ask the right questions, and then I will make a decision. So if they subpoena him, there's no guarantee he'll ever come and gum up the works on this impeachment for years and years and years and years and years.
Till after he's dead, probably. Till
after whoever's in Congress right now is no longer in Congress. So, trifling. The Justice Department has now brought more than 180 federal criminal cases against rioters and others connected to the U.S. Capitol siege. Prosecutors are digging into some of the histories of those involved, uncovering that a man named Troy Anthony Smocks has committed stolen valor. I never heard of that term before. Stolen valor means when someone lies about their military service and awards. And a New Mexico county official, Couy Griffin, who said he wanted to return for Biden's inauguration with guns and his car. Newly minted Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says the type of domestic terrorism seen at the Capitol is one of the greatest threats to the United States right now, echoing the findings of the 2020 Homeland Security Report. For all intensive purposes, what is quite ironic is Donald Trump called himself the protector of law and order. And he was actually, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, the actual instigator of lawfulness and disorder.
Yeah.
But, he can claim himself as he please, I guess.
Right. And he said if Biden becomes president, the city's going to be up in flames. Suburbia will never be the same. Seems to be back to where we were in 2016, much calmer.
Right.
Right? That's what it seems to me.
Right. So far, so good.
Yeah. That's what it seems to me. Early this week, AOC chronicled her experience on January 6th attack on the Capitol during a nearly 90-minute Instagram video. She said she hid in the bathroom while a man shouted, "Where is she?" She described seeing a Capitol police officer and not knowing if he was there to protect her or to harm her, and said that, like for so many other communities in this country, the presence of police doesn't necessarily signal safety. She also came forward as a sexual assault survivor and said that those who are telling her and others to move on from that day are using the tactics of abusers. The Congresswoman said Republican lawmakers who've supported Trump's baseless claims of election fraud must be held accountable, and said they endanger the lives of others by continuing to hold positions of power. What do you think of all that?
This is my girl. I love her. So anything said, I'm officially guards up.
Oh.
All right. According to statistics from the it is what it is. She says it exactly as it is. According to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, there are now over 104 million coronavirus cases worldwide. In the United States, more than 26.6 million people have been diagnosed with COVID. More than 530,000 people in the United States have died of COVID, and that would be one death for every minute of the pandemic. Meaning that every minute in the United States, since the pandemic started and we started the quarantine, there's a death for every minute that we've spent since we started quarantining back in March. Deborah Archer, a professor of New York University School of Law with expertise in civil rights and racial justice, has become the first black person in the 101-year history of the American Civil Liberties Union. I can't imagine that in 101 years of the ACLU, there's been no black person who's run it.
Really?
That's trifling to me. I'm actually like, what?
Do we think maybe she's the first black female, or?
No, we think she's the first black person in the 101-year history of the American. I'm reading it right here. It's trifling to me, Yo-Yo.
That's wild.
Definitely trifling.
She succeeds Susan Herman. I remember her. She was a professor at Brooklyn Law School. I think she was there when I went to law school there. I remember her.
Really?
I didn't know she was the head of the ACLU, who served as president since 2008. As the ACLU's 8th president since 1920, Archer will act as chair of its board of the directors, overseeing organizational matters and the setting of civil liberty policies. You hinted at this at the top of the show, Vanessa. For travelers, reportedly devoured 66 pounds of oranges at a Chinese airport to avoid paying extra airline fees. Now, like when you go in and you have to weigh your bags? Well, these bags were full of oranges, and they didn't want to pay the extra airline fees for the extra poundage of the oranges. So instead of just saying, I'm going to give the oranges away, we'll, throw them out if necessary, they decided to eat 66 pounds of oranges.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, the four men gobbled 66 pounds of oranges in 30 minutes at a Kunming airport after attempting to bring a giant box of fruit back home from a business trip in the Yunnan Province. The group, identified as co-workers, had decided to consume the oranges after learning it would be about $46 to pay the extra baggage fees. Said one of the travelers, his name was Wang. We don't know if Wang was the first name or the last name. He just goes by Wang. Says, we just stood there and ate the whole thing. It took 20 minutes. After chowing down, however, the citrus reportedly left some painful sores in their mouth. Now, at least one of the travelers claim he's had his fill of the fruit forever, declaring, we never want to see any more oranges again.
You know what? I feel for them. Because I'm the guy. The reason why I feel for them.
What do you feel?
Can I talk? Look, listen. The reason why I feel for them is because I'm the guy that always overpacks. So I'm the one who always holds the line up. They're like, hey, you're going to have to pay this, or you're going to have to find some way to take out 15 pounds. So what I usually do, I mean, obviously it's not with fruit, but what I have to do is like literally take out clothes and wear about 6 outfits and then close the suitcase, and now it fits. So, you know, I probably would have been there eating oranges with them too.
Now, I would tell you something, okay? You really have to be not a frugal individual to say,
46, yeah.
$46, I'm going to eat 66 pounds of oranges because I don't want to pay $46. I mean, I'm not calling anybody cheap, but I'm certainly saying that's quite frugal. Maybe I'm calling wine cheap, I'm not sure. Mike Jack set a Guinness World Record speed mark by eating 3 Carolina Reaper peppers. Those are the world's hottest chili peppers in 9.72 seconds, Guinness noted in a video of his feat last week on Facebook. He winced in pain, he retched, and he required a bucket, later saying, "It feels so good, but it hurts so bad." Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah. If I had to picture what the guy who would eat 3 Carolina Reaper peppers, the world's hottest chili pepper, in 9.72 seconds, if you had to tell me, what do you think he looks like? I would say that picture, he would definitely, I think I would describe this guy right here. Mike Jack, right? Let's see what Mike Jack looks again. I think that's exactly who I would be describing, who would be doing this, right?
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Right? Like, I mean, if you had to say what guy would eat, who would be the champ? Would be that guy right there.
That guy.
Yeah. Now, Guinness does not appear to mention a previous record on its website. The Smoking Ed's Carolina Reaper pepper packs an average of 1.6 million Scoville heat units. I don't know what that equals.
So I watch Hot Ones, is where this guy, he interviews celebrities, but they have to eat hot wings, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. So like that's like, I guess, like the hot level. So that's the only reason why I know about that word.
Let me tell you what the creator of this pepper says it's like eating. It's like eating. Of it? Yeah, somebody had to create this. Okay. So in other words,
oh my God.
Okay. So he said this is like eating molten lava.
What?
It is 200 times hotter than a jalapeno.
Golly.
And a jalapeno is pretty hot.
That looks like the devil's fruit.
Okay. And then he didn't eat one of them. He ate 3 of them.
In 9 seconds.
No, let's not give Mike Jack too much credit. 9.72 seconds. If you're able to do it in 9 seconds, we have a countdown, Yo-Yo. Okay, yes. We can do it. So in lieu of me answering immigration questions, we can do a 9-second countdown and see if you want to do 3 jalapeno. These are not jalapenos. 3 Carolina Reaper.
I'm good. Reaper. Do you hear that? The
Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
Grim Reaper. Carolina Reaper.
I'm good.
No.
Would you try one? Would you try one to try it?
No.
You don't like spicy?
No. Would you do it for $1,000?
Hell no.
2,000.
It's not enough for the insides of my body to be melting.
All right. $5,000.
I get to chase it. There should be there's a chaser.
What
there's
you saying? Just
chaser.
I just want to see what your threshold level is. No, 3.
3?
Oh, you said 1. I thought you were
okay, one for 5,000.
1, I'll do 5,000.
1 you do for. All right, that's the threshold.
For sure.
What about 2?
10,000.
Really? I thought you would have went more than 10.
2?
2. I thought you would have said 25 grand.
No.
In cash,
it's
tax
an easy
free.
10,000. I'll suffer for like a day.
Right.
What?
I'll suffer for like a day.
All right.
10,000.
10,000 2. But you're not going to do it in 9 seconds.
No.
Like,
I gotta do it on my turn.
You all right? So what would I get? 30 minutes every 30 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. Did you hear that? It's like eating lava. What?
Yeah.
This
Wild.
is 200 times hotter than a jalapeno, yo-yo. I think for $10,000, we would be bringing you to the hospital after the first one. I don't think you'd get to the second one. Yo, we'd be like, out of the way! Out of the way, yo-yo, just ate a Carolina Reaper, get him to the hospital!
Just have a bunch of milk around me so I can eat it or drink it, I mean.
After nearly a decade of lawsuits, Michel and Anne Pécheras of Grignols village in France has been ordered to drain a 300 square meter pond on their property due to noisy frogs. And these frogs are very noisy. One nearby neighbor claimed the noise reached up to 63 decibels. For comparison, running a vacuum cleaner is 70 decibels. All right, so that's not so terrible, and it's outside. However, environmental groups argue that the pond's removal would harm at least 6 protected frog species. I can't believe they're going to kill all these frogs because some guy doesn't want to hear them. Move.
Wait, they're going to kill them?
Yeah. Move.
Aw.
Go move.
Right.
You don't like it? Go move.
Nice.
That's where they live
That's
too.
their home first.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I'm mad I picked this one. I'm mad I picked this
Yeah,
one. I'm sorry, guys.
Jean-Louis Malfion, the neighbor, first filed suit in 2012. Jean-Louis, go move.
Right.
Okay, but Jean-Louis' claim never raised a complaint with them, and he initially complimented their pond. All right, the defense was he never raised a complaint with them. Jean-Louis never complained, and he was complimenting their pond and inquired about who did the excavation work because he wanted a pond himself. Now, for 9 years, the case jumped between local and regional courts, during which time conservation groups have tried to rescue the frogs prior to the destruction of their habitat. Meanwhile, now, the landowner only has 90 days to finish draining, or they're going to get fined. Kill the frogs or get fined.
I didn't like that story.
I didn't like that story. I don't even find that wacky. That's sad.
That's sad.
That is sad.
Why can't they just move the froggies?
If I was the judge, I would have ordered Jean-Louis to eat 3 Carolina Reapers in 9 seconds.
Right.
That's what my judge's order would have been. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.